Hello, all greetings. This is Gilles Monsieur. I wanted to come and say hello, wish you a good day. I wanted to discuss a few things about this. This is my idea. It is just a perspective within the now. I'm discussing the spiritual aspect of reality and life. Here I'm going to pull a few cards, I'm going to discuss a few ideas, so a few paintings and sing a little bit. So it is like a whole, I'm just enjoying making those videos. I hope you enjoy watching them and that they can also help you, assist you in your internal process of growth and evolution, to know yourself better, to recognize yourself in the extension of source of God that you are. I wanted to talk about the law of one. The law of one is the law of God. There is only one God, and God is the only one that knows the oneness of all things. For everybody else, it is an act of faith that we all practice, and so this law of God is. This law of one is the eternal understanding that God is sovereign, the only one that is sovereign and is all powerful, almighty. And how does it apply to? I wanted to say that in relationship to religion and politics. In relationship to religion, we are moving into this age of Aquarius, so there will be great deal of transformation that will be happening, and in many sense, all the people and the religion and the individual that believe they are better than anybody else, believe their religion is the only one, or believe that their people is more special than any other people, will not pass the shift. For God there is only God that is sovereign, and everybody else below is his people, is his children. But there is not a chosen people or chosen religion. It is just means by which God has sent different aspects of consciousness, philosophies, so that we can know ourselves better, get closer to our Creator, and realize our connection to our Source and Creator. So in many sense, I wanted to say that so all the religion will be called to return into the one, to fuse into the one, to accept the unity of all things, and those who do that will be moving into this golden age of light and wisdom, and those who do not will be moving into a lowest cycle, a lowest span on another planet. In terms of politics, it will be more delicate, but it has to happen also. That this law of one will tell us that the only way to make peace in the world is to create one religion, one government. We are one planet, one people, one nation, and one government made by the people, for the people. Because no matter what we do in terms of, as long as there is sovereign nation, no matter what the agreements between those nations that they will make peace, at some point the agenda of one nation will diverge from the others, and they will separate and will start to start new wars. And the bigger the nation, the more dangerous the wars, the more crazy those things are. So in many sense, we'll have to abandon the national sovereignty in order to create a global peaceful government that will ensure the security of the planet and the people. There is not no matter what culture we belong to, we need to move into this global understanding, not in the George Orwell sense of like this tyrannical police state where we're like we all submit to those control. It will have to be a world of freedom, a world where people are the quality of life of each citizen of the planet is the first and foremost interest of all political power, that everybody will have to be respected in terms of right and privileges in relationship to its existence here on the earth. So this is just an idea, but it will eventually we'll have to move into this global unity consciousness, at which point we'll be meeting other planets, systems, star nations that have achieved that. And the universe will become something so much more interesting, for it is not full of dead exotic gas and dead rocks. The universe is teeming with life. There is life everywhere. God has created this universe to be a support for all of life. So it is infinitely bigger, infinitely more incredible than anything we can actually believe or know at this point. But it will open up as we make peace within ourselves, and we open ourselves to the connection to the realm of spirit and to our soul and spirit from within the heart. I also wanted to discuss the level of existential, actual, and potential. For God is existential. He was God before the universe was created. He created the universe. He did not change by creating the universe, and he will not be changed after the universe has fulfilled its total path of function and evolution. But here, what we are, there is a certain thing that is actual that we have, and then there is the potential of what we need to become, or what is potential before us. So in a sense, we want to turn potential into actual. This is really what is And right now the veils are thinning, the frequency is rising. I felt there was the Pleiadians are getting closer. The Pleiadians are the extraterrestrial that are the closest cousins that we have. We share a part of our genetic DNA. They look like us. They're taller, maybe more beautiful because they're more advanced. They are eternal beings from higher dimensions, but they're very, very close to you. They're very humanoid, but they're very close to the physical appearance, and they may come down to the earth discreetly. It's just that if you meet them, you will see them. When you look in their eyes, you will see that they are not normal human beings, mortal beings full of fear or anything. They will reflect to you love and light in a higher level, higher degree. I also wanted to speak of the light of Santal. It's a ninth dimensional light. It is the light of the keeper of the way, the master of Undal, in order to discover a spiritual purpose. Maybe it is just me but it is a light that's always been there. It was a master named Orlet who was the creator of the civilization of Atlantid. Is the master guide of Thoth, the master of wisdom. And I've been through this initiation. I'm on the 88 reading of the Emerald Tablet of Thoth. If you're interested in the eternal wisdom of understanding the eternal wisdom of Egyptian, the secrets of eternal life, you can read this or do it in audiobook, the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, the Atlantean. You have to do it 100 times to fulfill the initiation. I'm on the 88 reading, and so I assure you it gets really stronger and stronger, and the connection gets deeper and deeper. And then I'm going to start doing those rejuvenation exercise for preserving to rejuvenate my physical body. It takes about 2 hours a day, so it's a commitment, but at some point it's necessary to rejuvenate the physical body. And since Thoth explained those keys and codes how to do that, it's something I'm going to start doing. In order also to understand the spiritual meaning of this light of Santal, to understand. So this meaning is not yet known. It is a ninth dimension. It is aligning to the highest potential of spiritual evolution, of divine revelation, of divine experience. Also wanted to say that in my thoughts and ideas, I hope I'm not offending anyone. Spirit was saying that I offended someone, and so I don't know who it is, but I don't mean to. It's just I'm just trying to be as clear as possible, to be as pure as possible in the expression, in the vehicle of expression, in order to express inspiration, truth, and wisdom. Of course, sometimes it's okay to get out of wisdom, to go a little bit into totally banana. It's okay. There is no judgment as long as you don't hurt anybody. There is no judgment in terms of that. We are moving towards a really great shift, both on the physical. There is going to be a great deal of physical changes that will be happening, and as you tune into your inner guidance, I'm being informed. You should be informed of certain things that will be coming for you. The more you tune in, the more your soul and your I Am presence will inform you of what is coming ahead. So there is a great deal of magic powers that will be bestowed upon us. We're not going to receive all the same gift. We have certain gift that we'll be receiving. So be grateful for the gift, and know that there is new energies available for inside. As we purify the inside, we are able to discover new things, open our third eye. I'm starting to balance out my energy. I'm returning to normal patterns of sleep, and so it feels really good. And so it is good to know you have to tune in, to turn in, whether it is through meditation, through naps, through between sleep and or at any given time to tune into your inner self for instruction and guidance. And to know what is acceptable for you at any given time. For instance, for many years it was acceptable for me to smoke. I was a smoker, but at some point, for my health of my physical body, I had to stop. So I'm cleansing up I hope it's going to happen really. It's going to happen fast, but I'm cleansing. I'm healing my lungs. I'm healing my kidneys. I'm healing my liver. I'm detoxifying. Of course, I should do 3 days of total fasting, but I'm not really good at it. I'm trying during the Ramadan. I haven't been trained to fast, so it takes a bit longer. But in many sense, we do not want to deprive ourselves of all the things we love to do. I know once I have completely cleaned up and aligned myself with my I Am presence, I will be able to smoke a cigar once in a while if I like it. It's no big deal. It's not. Everything was created by God for as a tool, as experience. So it is just about a matter of being a master of ourselves, being temperate, not being dominated by some impulses that come from ourselves to dominate our senses. So know what's good, what's authorized for you. Some things may be authorized for some other people, may not be authorized for you, or some things may be authorized at any given time and may not be authorized at another time. Sometimes when we do those cleansing, we are trapped in angles, and the more our point of view is severe and strict, the narrower the angle, and then there is the server that are coming to eat up our soul. So we have to learn to go back into the circle, to let go of every belief that we have. All this reality is just an illusion, it's a dream. And so as we move into a circle and we learn to move through curves and circles, we are getting free. There is no more ability for those dark energies to come and trap us into those angles. So it's all about understanding the dynamic of thoughts, the dynamic of the world of energy. I'm going to pull a few cards to see what from the archangels. The highest wisdom for us today is the page of Gabriel. Energetic, courageous, optimist, and happy. Follow your passions. You are ready to undertake a challenge. Move towards new and stimulating adventures. So there is a great deal of newness that can be, as we let go of the past, the new will be extremely exciting. Although it's through the desert, he's got his staff. It's quite brilliant. It's quite brilliant. What we need to understand is the Lady of Michael. Brilliant, autonomous, perspicacious, having a sense of humor. You know exactly what to do. Put your experience into work. Focalize more on your career than on a love life, on your life. So first take care of your love life, first take care of your career, first take care of your logistics, first take care of yourself, then the love will come, in essence. What we need to do is the 5 of Michael. The present situation does not bring you what you want. Do not take things too much at heart. Step back. It's about stepping back, stop worrying, just trust. And what the outcome will be strength, the Archangel Ariel. Grace and strength expressed through kindness, trust in yourself, and forgiveness. So all of that is available as we let go of the past. Sometimes we have to push ourselves a little bit, to push ourselves outside our comfort zone in order to achieve what we need to achieve. But it is only a process. It is temporary, and understand that sometimes we do want to become master of ourselves. We become master of our frequency. And to find the truth, find our own truth, and how do we do that is through breath, through breathing in and breathing out. It is all sheltered by the breath, sheltered by the lungs, all of life. So we want to be flexible. Also, we want to by moving into circle rather than angles. If we're inflexible, we end up in an angle. So we want to be flexible and pay attention to your inner guide, to your heart, and know that you can contact your inner divinity. No matter what you go through, your inner divinity is always at peace, always ready to show you the light, show you guidance. All the light workers will be called into action or called into work. If you haven't received the call yet, or you don't know exactly, just trust that it will come. Just be ready and be ready to move into action. You have to prepare yourself, for you will give yourself the time that you need. But there is a synchronicity. Everything is being orchestrated on high. So we do when it's getting really close to the event, and so we need to be ready to step into our power seat, to move into our position of where we will be able to serve. We all have a role to play in this ascension that we've contracted before time. Some people have stepped out of their role in order to explore all kinds of alcoholism or drugs or whatever, to explore the all kinds of things. But we want to move back into this position where we are actually able to find the greatest fulfillment. It doesn't mean that we cannot have a drink or whatever, but we're not. It is not about getting lost in those things. Understanding also the nature is one, nature is oneness. All the trees are divine beings that are connected at all the universal level, but they're all individual personality. And when we connect to this oneness of nature, we connect to the peace. We make peace within our consciousness. And so also I wanted to invite you to communicate with life. For life, there is life that is physical that we see. It's like a tip of the iceberg, and then there is life that we do not see, like thoughts, emotions, and all the realm of spirit, angels, and so on. They're always there, but they're invisible. And God being the absolute non-being, but in the life, God has created those universe with unimaginable, countless spirit beings that have unimaginable wisdom and love to share, and they are the administrator of life and the universe. And I want to make sure that you are welcome to engage those presence, those spirits. They are all benevolent forces within the universe. So do not be afraid to engage those forces, and to know they will mirror you. Sometimes they will mirror you your fears. Sometimes they will mirror you some shadows, but sometimes they will mirror you the most beautiful potential. And at the end, God will show you that there was only the most beautiful potential that was real. Everything else was just a transmutation. So we do have to transmute our fear. We have to understand our emotion, to understand when emotion is not exactly what we want. Is because we do not understand it. There is something what is behind the emotion. What is the emotion telling us? So it is about being knowing ourselves, understanding how to align, how to be kind and true to ourselves as much as possible. The painting behind me is a painting on cosmology. Everything will be reworked. For those paintings are okay right now, but I want them to be spectacular at the end. So it takes me years and years and years. This one, I've been on it for about 10 years. They usually don't take me all that long, but this one has been taking me a very, very long time. And so I'm gonna go back into it. This one too is still. I'm working on this one as well. It's about three. There is those three graces here. We have a little cat painting above. There is a text on the Eye of Horus, and this one too is the third of a series. I have two of them that are completely done, and this one is the third one. It's about the Andromeda Enlightenment. It's the point of contact between the aura on the fourth dimension hyperspace of the Milky Way galaxy, and when it touches the aura of the Andromeda galaxy with the triangle galaxy here. And so this one is not finished, but I've started going into there's all kinds of depths within this great Andromeda galaxy here, the Milky Way. I may just go back into a spiral, I'm not really sure. Those are going really slow, but soon I'm really looking forward to have a studio where I'll be able to work, an assistant, and there is all kinds of projects that are ahead. I'm really excited. I'm even eager to get it moving, to get it move forward. So but God is in charge of my program, so I trust that. I trust that God is being ready. I am ready. I'm ready, willing, and available to make this happen. I'm going to pull a few cards from the Akash to look at the chakra system, and. So on the root is the base. It's where the challenges are. And here we have Atlantid. So it's about reconnecting to those memories of these matriarchal societies where we were in fourth dimension, where we were connected. We were all connected. We were living. It was a great, beautiful life over there. We could live thousands of years within each incarnation. We were like it was a crystal civilization, and all the technology were crystalline. What we see on our navel, which is the sexual chakra, the chakra of harmonization, which is the astral plane, is love life. So there is great, wonderful. This is wonderful. Love is wonderful. For sometimes love is not shared, and so it can be a wound. But sometimes it is. So let us. For we want to be romantic, but not sentimental, because sometimes sentimentality can bring us down emotionally. So it's about discovering how to be romantic without being too sentimental. What we see on the solar plexus, which is our power center, the communication, the heart and the power center, they have to become one chakra. Eventually the heart will englobe it all, but this is really what we need to our solar plexus to be connected to our heart and to our thymus, the upper heart, so that's all the power is being integrated. And here we have the healer. It's about understanding our wholeness. Then in our hearts we have the knighthood. It's about being brave, it's about being courageous, it's about being strong, it's about having values and to work to integrate those values and to act upon it. Then in terms of our communication chakra is the lessons and the good deeds. So sometimes we came here to learn lessons, but as we create good causes, we eventually transmute all the negative, and there is only the good deed that can return to us. So it's about accepting to receive. what we see before us is the war and battles in the third eye, is to end those wars and battles, to put an end to all the there is all kinds of memory also. We've been through many incarnation where we had to go through that, and it was part of the evolution process of the planet. And so it's about doing that. Once we put an end to this inner war, this inner fight that we're fighting ourselves, we're fighting others, there is no more need to fight. There is only you and God is wholly benevolent. So if you accept yourself to be benevolent, who can you fight? There is no one else to fight. So there's just a shadow. So again, it's the angles. Just move into a circle and everything goes fine. And then you find health. We'll be able to look into our physical reality with so much more health and integration. And then on the crown chakra which is imagine this disc of light that is spinning on top of your head. And the more you imagine it and you concentrate your thought on top of it, eventually the bump on top of the head will become a hole, will become hollow. And then it allows the soul to move through the vertical axis. And here we have the transport. We want to be seated within the rail of this love train. It's the love train. So maybe I have to print the song, The Love Train. I forgot who was singing this love train. But it's about being really well anchored within this train of ascension. On the soul, the Earth star, which is a star that connects us to the planets, what gives us the physicality. Everything comes from the Earth. The Earth is giving us this physical potential. And above our head, we have a soul star that is connected to the sun, that gives us the future self, is silver light. But first, our Earth star, which is about 12 inches below our feet. And here we have the Father, we have God. God is our root. It is holding our root. And so know that God has your back. The more you trust, the more you eliminate all those things that are not divine within yourself. Know that there is only light within yourself. Everything else is an illusion. And then on the crown, which is our future self, we're going to move into community life. We're going to create a new community on this planet that will be functional, where people will be happy. There will be no more need for all those wars and all those silly childish experiences. So we want to be integrated. We want to be we want to be able to participate in the culture of our time as much as possible, to be an assistant of all that. I'm going to finish with two songs. The first one is an old song, a French song. I don't know why it came through my head. It's about this person who's like desperate because he lost the love that he loved. And then I'm going to sing a song of David Bowie to finish. That's more happy. But I don't know why this song. Maybe it's a beautiful song though, so let's sing it. It's called Qui sera. Vous mes amis, tant de fois vous me dites que d'ici peu je ne serai plus triste. J'aimerais bien vous croire un jour, mais j'en doute avec raison. Essayez de répondre à ma question. Qui saura, qui saura, qui saura, qui saura me faire oublier, dites-moi. Ma seule raison de vivre, essayez de me le dire. Qui saura, oui, qui saura. Vous, mes amis, essayez de comprendre qu'une seule fille au monde peut me rendre. Tout ce que j'ai perdu, je sais qu'elle ne reviendra pas. Alors, si vous pouvez, dites-le moi. Qui saura, qui saura, qui saura, qui saura me faire vivre d'autres joies? Je n'avais qu'elle sur terre et sans elle ma vie entière. Je sais bien que le bonheur n'existe pas. Vous, mes amis, le soleil vous inonde. Vous dites que je sortirai de l'ombre. J'aimerais bien vous croire, oui, mais mon cœur y renonce. Ma question reste toujours sans réponse. Qui saura, qui saura, qui saura, qui saura me faire vivre, dites-moi. Ma seule raison de vivre, essayez de me le dire. Qui saura, oui, qui saura? Qui saura, qui saura, qui saura? Qui saura me faire vivre d'autres joies? Je n'avais qu'elle sur terre et sans elle ma vie entière. Je sais bien que le bonheur n'existe pas. Qui saura, qui saura, qui saura? Qui saura me faire vivre, dites-moi. Ma seule raison de vivre, essayez de me le dire. Qui saura, oui, qui saura? It's a really old song. It's from an Israeli singer named Mike Brandt. Committed suicide. He was a great, beautiful guy, very wealthy, very famous, and yet he was like very this dark shadow of seemed to that really. But in many sense, this song reminds me of. It's very romantic, but it reminds me of my teenager when I was a teenager, my first love, or even a child. It's like those first heartbreak, and so I don't know why this song went through my mind. I thought I sang it. To finish, I'm going to finish with this song in tribute to David Bowie. It's a song named Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol is like kind of the opposite to my own work. It's the most superficial of our artists. It's like all about the external, but he invented a very powerful movement, and it's pop art, that is the industrialization of art. It's quite interesting, and it's really a funny song. It goes like this: like to take a cement fix, be a standing cinema, dress my friends are just for show, see them as they really are, put a people in my brains, 2 new pens to have a go, like to be a gallery, put you all inside my show. Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol silver screen, can't tell them apart at all. Andy walking, Andy tired, Andy take a little snooze. Tie him up when he's fast asleep, send him on a pleasant cruise. When he wakes up on the sea, be sure he thinks of me and you. He thinks about paint and he thinks about glue. What a jolly boring thing to do. Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol silver screen, can't tell them apart at all. It's a great photographer. I'm going to soon go back into photography to see how I can include photography in my work, for I love photography. And Warhol is probably the most famous and the most expensive photographer, for most of his work are just photography. There were like a little bit of paint over it, but it's essentially photography. And but I do like his work. And I think it's maybe a little bit overpriced, but it's my my take on those things. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much for liking, sharing, commenting. If you have any comment, I really welcome all your ideas and thoughts on all those things that I've been talking about. And I wish you a good day. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Namaste.